Is EV charging infrastructure good enough? Electric vehicles are increasingly common on US roads. But here's the big question. Is the charging infrastructure keeping up? If public charging is unreliable or sparse, EV adoption could stall. In this video, we dig into the data, how many chargers there are, how fast infrastructure is growing, and what real EV drivers are saying online. Part 1. The state of EV charging infrastructure by the numbers. 1. Rapid growth but big gaps. According to the International Council on Clean Transportation (ICCT), by the end of 2024, there were about 204,000 non-home public charging points in the US. The growth rate for non-home chargers has averaged 25% per year since 2019, roughly in line with what would be needed to support a rapidly expanding EV market. 2. How many versus what kind? A Congressional Research Service report shows that as of January 2025, there were 75,107 public charging stations with 207,227 charging ports. About 75% are level 2 slower AC chargers, and about 25% are DC fast chargers. As of April 2024, there were 62,577 public charging locations and 167,513 connectors. 3. Where the chargers are public charging is very uneven geographically. Some states are very well covered, while others lag. Rural areas in particular tend to have fewer chargers. California alone has around 49,000 public charging ports, far more than most states. In terms of chargers per 10 square miles, smaller northeastern states outperform many large states. 4. Fast charger deployment. Fast DC chargers are coming online more quickly. In Q2 2025 alone, 4,242 new DC fast chargers were installed, bringing the total to nearly 59,700 fast chargers in the US. 5. Funding, policy support. The US government says that publicly available EV chargers have doubled since the start of the Biden-Harris administration. However, fewer than 200 federally funded charging stations were actually in operation by the end of 2024, raising concerns about how fast publicly funded infrastructure is deploying. Part 2. Reliability, accessibility, real-world challenges. It's not just about how many chargers there are, it's about how usable they are. Here's what EV owners are saying online, especially on Reddit, plus what studies find. 1. User complaints, reliability payment issues. On Reddit, one user said, "It actually isn't complicated at all. America has far too few public chargers. Charging in the US is a hot mess. You have to be ready to pay mystery price for your charge. Almost none take a credit card." Another added, "I have had to try 5 charge points in the same lot before I found one that connected. Payment systems are frustrating. Many chargers require an app, and there's little transparency." 2. Utilization, profitability. Some users question whether public chargers are used enough to be financially sustainable. Public chargers need a utilization rate of at least 20%, but in 2022, the average rate was just 7.5%. Low utilization means that charging companies may struggle to justify expanding in less dense areas. 3. Geographic gaps. A user mapped charger density per 100 miles of road and found huge differences. Some states have less than one charger per 100 miles, while others, mostly in the Northeast, have much higher coverage. In rural regions especially, users say charging remains a pain point. 4. Reliability and uptime. Academic view. A study evaluated over 650 fast charging connectors in the San Francisco Bay Area and found only 72.5% were functional when checked. That's a much lower uptime than what many charging providers claim. Another paper found significant spatial inequities. Some communities, especially marginalized ones, have much less access. Part 3. So, is it good enough? Analysis putting together the data and user feedback. Here's what we can conclude. 1. Big progress, but still behind infrastructure is growing fast. Tens of thousands of new public chargers every year, with major growth in DC fast chargers. But to match future EV adoption, the pace needs to increase. The US would need to build roughly 58,000 public charging points every year to reach 2030 targets. 2. Reliability remains a key issue. Even when chargers are present, they're not always working. Payment systems frustrate users. The low utilization rate in many places suggests that infrastructure is being built but not always used efficiently. 3. Uneven geographic deployment. Urban areas generally have better charger coverage. Rural areas are still underserved. This gap could slow EV adoption in less populated regions. 4. Equity access concerns. Research shows that not all communities benefit equally from public charging expansion. For EVs to be truly equitable, investments need to account for where people live, work, and travel. 5. Policy risk. While there is strong policy support, deployment has been slower than ideal in some cases. A recent report showed fewer than 400 EV charging ports were built under the 7.5 billion federal program as of mid 2025. That risk could slow infrastructure growth, especially in regions that rely on public funding. Part 4. What needs to happen next? Recommendations: more strategic deployment, build more chargers in underserved areas, especially rural zones and states with low charger density, improve reliability uptime. Charging companies must ensure higher real world uptime, streamline payment systems, and improve connector reliability. Boost usage, encourage public use. To make public charging financially viable, utilization needs to improve. Incentives, dynamic pricing, or shared use models might help. Equity focused charging deployment should take into account social and demographic factors, not just highways, but residential neighborhoods, workplaces, and underserved communities. Accountability in public funding. With federal funds like NAVI, there should be clear metrics, timelines, and accountability to ensure money builds real, usable infrastructure. So, is EV charging infrastructure good enough today? The short answer: not quite, but it's improving fast. The growth is real, but there are serious challenges around reliability, equity, and where chargers are built. If we want EVs to really go mainstream, these issues need to be addressed head on. What do you think? Do you have personal experience charging your EV, good or bad, that you'd like to share? Drop a comment below. And if you found this video useful, hit that like button and subscribe for more breakdowns on EVs, clean energy, and the future of transport. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.